So obviously you passed. So
Okay.
no need to worry about that. You will be going through.
Okay. My proposal, upgrade, defense, oral viva is in about 23 minutes, and I'm feeling nervous now. I haven't really been feeling nervous this whole time, like the whole weeks before, but it's obviously happening now. So last night and yesterday during the day, I decided to, well, not decided to, I printed out what I submitted, and I was just sort of, you can't really see, but like highlighting the areas that I think that are like core, not that the other things aren't, but just sort of like where I make a good point or that I think they might ask me about. I feel really nervous, so yeah, hopefully it goes well.
Hey, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Temi, and I make videos as a way to document my life for my future self. Right now, that means vlogs about my PhD and navigating life in my 30s as a Black woman. If you like the sound of any of that, then feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, like, or all three.
Either way, you're with me or not, just know that I'm okay. I wish you the best life if that's the case. Plus I needed time for myself anyway. I'm done with chasing, done wasting energy.
I'm about to go in to my upgrade. Eek!
So I'm going to hand it over to Rita, and then we'll kind of go back and forth with things that we want to ask you.
Okay.
Mhm. Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to read your work. It is such a great project you've developed, and I really enjoyed reading it. And I think you make a really strong case for the importance of your project. And you have a brilliant theoretical framework. I was really interested in some of sort of your ideas in progress that came out of it as well. And your choice of methodology also makes perfect sense. So obviously you passed. So no need to worry about that. You will be going through.
Okay.
So for now, I just have some questions, some things that I was reading that I was interested in that I thought I could ask you about, and then we can talk a bit more about that.
Sure.
If that sounds okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I had was about like how does social media mitigate social displacement, like for Black women through migration. And this was a very personal historical project because I mean, you can just have an accent. I grew up in Canada, and then there's research also on digital intimacy, but again, there's a sort of missing gap or exclusion about Black women's experiences. And I think sort of writ large in internet studies or science technology studies, there has been this sort of for and against idea of like the internet and the web as this unraced space versus, you know, very specific experiences that Black people and other racial minorities have. So I'm like thinking about like, you know, Lisa Nakamura's work here on race in the internet. So I finished my upgrade meeting. I also then had immediately 2 hours of German class. So I'm a bit like underwhelmed, I guess, after that. But yeah, I feel a bit underwhelmed in general by the upgrade process. I think, like, first of all, I passed. I passed like unconditionally, I guess. Although there is like a slight condition that it's not like a formally registered on my account until I also get ethical approval that's passed. But yeah, so I'm happy for that. I didn't really have, It would have been very surprising if I didn't pass, because my supervisors had read my proposal documents, and they didn't really have any questions that I hadn't answered in the writing. I think the most nerve-wracking part for me was having someone new read my work, someone else who is an external read my work. They were quite related to my research area, so that was great. It's kind of hard at this point because the upgrade is just so much of your thinking that, like, when they're asking you about things that you're thinking, so for example, in my research I had questions about, how do I think about affordances, so platform affordances from social media, how would they also impact mediated intimacy, and what my perspective was on that and how I was going to address that in the thesis. But at this point, it's I haven't collected any data, so a lot of this is just hypothetical or just really conceptual, theoretical, based on the literature. So I could argue my point, but also it really depends what comes out in the data. So yeah, I passed. I'm really happy to have it over and done with, but I also feel a bit underwhelmed. And that's not because I'm like feeling ungrateful to the process or to my supervisors. They really, I feel like, have my back, and they really guided me in a way that I felt like I was quite confident that I would pass, which is why I said I would have been surprised. But I think it's more that for me, the bigger part was submitting the work. Doing all the work that you have to then submit, for me, feels like the actual, like, stressful thing. And then the viva, or the oral viva for the upgrade, honestly, it just felt like a supervision. It was even shorter than a supervision, really. So yeah, it's such like a milestone thing. It's really the only milestone other than the actual thesis viva, the thesis defense, that it feels like this huge thing. But I feel like, anyway, in my experience, it's quite underwhelming. And other than that, because it is like a high-end thing, and I've been working up to it since I pretty much started my PhD, I'm kind of like, oh, that's it. And then it's like, now what do I do? You know, like, I'm like, I feel kind of a bit like I have this energy I need to expend somewhere, but really I have to go back to work. So it's just kind of like, okay, I did it. It's gotten very cold very quickly on Plague Island, and I don't love it, but I think I'm going to end the vlog here. I'm just going to head out to FACT, to my residency. It's my last couple of days at my residency this week. Next week, I am moving to Germany for 6 months to begin an academic fellowship. And I can't believe that just like that, this major part of my PhD process is done. The box is ticked. It's on to the next part, which is ethicals, well, this fellowship, and then ethical review and interviews. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next vlog.